Oh my goodness, that's like very in my nose. I feel like I could, oh, that's very in there. That was an accident. This is the Miss Megan Holy Trinity, and welcome to the resurrection of Studio Fix Tech. This foundation gets me so hyped. I love a lot of MAC foundations. You've seen me talk about them before. There's other videos about all of the formulas, but this really is my holy grail. And I want people to love her because she's so good. It's a technique thing. You have to use a brush with it. And just like every foundation to be properly prepped, but you need such a small amount. So I'm just gonna show you how I do my skin. I already have Hyperreal Serumizer down when I was doing my eyes. I filmed this eye look as well, so if you wanna see the eyes, I'll link that below. Hyperreal Balm is my first cream going down. The other thing I didn't do today after just realizing is, oh my goodness, Magic Radiance. Oh my God, that's like very in my nose. I feel like I could, oh, that's very in there. That was an accident. Love this product. Face Protect SPF 50. This is only available in the US. Someone told me is getting discontinued. I don't know. I don't know, but it's a primer with SPF 50. Like there's obviously no beauty filter on because it's not possible. I just love my skin. I love how my skin looks. I love foundation. I love my routines. I love makeup. If you know, you know, NC60 Soft Matte Foundation Stick. This is a classic for me. I think I have like 3 left of the like 8 that I bought. So I have a cross between like an underpainting technique and not. So I like this down as my like cream bronzer. This part doesn't have to be perfect because it's getting covered. We're just building that structure and working from basically dark to light. Sometimes I remember to do under my lip, sometimes I don't. Structure's down, we're ready to go. Strobe Dewy Skin Tint is the love of my life. It is the love of my life. So I like my skin to look like rubber and latex, and I like a high pearl in my skin because I like the strobe glow it gives. I'm mixing medium 2 and light 2. I can wear a lot of different tones, like a lot of different shades in this, because they are called stretchable shades. So get samples and just see what your eye actually likes better. So I press this all around, and it's a tinted moisturizer too, right? So it's super, super lightweight. So I press this around everywhere. This is always, always, always my base for anything. If I test a foundation out, ultimately, like, yes, I'll test it by itself, but I need to test it on top of this because this is the structure to my skin. Oh my God. This is, if you've been following me for a while, which there's so many new people here, hi, you know that I was always, my brows, doesn't matter what I do, it lifts in the middle. Always was trying to build, like I was mixing face and body and strobe face glaze to get this look, and now there's a product. I lucked out, God's favorite. I just need to lay these down. So we have like a little bit of our shadowing in there. Don't worry about the under eye. This is just our base, it's just the beginning. My favorite bronzer shade on my favorite brush, 187. I avoid cleaning it most days. So I wear C8 so that it doesn't pull orange. It has more of a golden, in person, like you can actually see the green kind of undertone it has. I'm doing more of a pressing motion than a swiping motion because the strobe face glaze is wet. I don't want to pull at it or cause streaks. So I'm pushing the Studio Fix powder into it. So we already have really beautiful, I just love my routine. Beautiful structure. Now it's our baby, married to the 109, okay? The reason this needs to be resurrected and is because nobody talks about it on the internet. Nobody knows about it. From a visual perspective, it's very hard to locate in stores, and it does need to be airtight. So like if you're touching testers in a store, they're so much drier than what it's actually gonna be. It's like, even this is a more complex product. Tri-blend. It has like 3 parts to it, and then it's formulated to melt into your skin throughout the day with your body temperature, where sometimes in some foundations that can cause separation, or your body temperature can cause things to slip off. So many factors that happen as makeup wears, where this one is formulated to wear well. And this is how much. I'm just gonna make sure the brush is like evenly loaded so you can see how much is on the tips there. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what I'm gonna start with. And I'm just gonna start to push it around because the brush is a little bit wider and flimsier. It's gonna do a better job at pushing the product around. And this is kind of how you would deal with a lot of different cream products, but I like my skin to look like rubber and latex. And this gives a natural, like, okay, so it's a medium to full coverage. Like you can build it, especially if you went in, don't use the sponge, just throw the sponge in the garbage. Buildable coverage, like to completely full. But in terms of how the blurring look, it's still a natural matte finish. So the blurring that's gonna happen on this is still in the natural family, not full glam blur. Because yes, there's different levels to all of these things. I like a little bit more coverage right here in the center part of the face. So I'm gonna tap in a little extra. Because it's a water-based cream, because it's smoothing and blurring, and so very soft on oily skin, on prepped dry skin, it will melt in. I choose for my skin prep to be a little bit more makeup based. Well, I mean, I have both. I have both skincare based prep and makeup, but because it's sitting on strobe, my skin is balanced. That's almost the equivalent of it going on oilier skin. And you can still see my beauty marks through all this because again, it still has a natural looking finish. I'm in love. Did I not do my nose? No, I did. I didn't do it with bronzer. Let me just go add that. I think you could, like, I have a lot of older foundation routines on here. I have just elevated that routine. I'm gonna start with blush. This is what I've been into lately. Fluffy brush, and I've kind of found my own version of boyfriend blush, but I'm gonna start from the edge of my contour and I'm gonna pull back, but I sort of pull back into the bronzer that's already there as opposed to pulling down as low as I did when I was trying to like try the trend. Boyfriend blush is about wearing blush a little bit lower, kind of like how a guy gets flushed in the face. They tend to have more pigment down here. I'm kind of finding an in-between of the two, and it's great on like heart-shaped or like oblong faces. Love it, lock it in. I'm happy with everything I've put down, but I'm not done working, so I want to keep going. This is where I start to do the under eye. Bright Forecast Prep and Prime pen. So this color corrects, highlights, and helps keep the concealer on. Don't judge your blush and your bronzer until your concealer's done, because structurally, it'll change the face. Oh no. Oh, that reminded me, my powder brush last night fell into black eyeshadow. So that I don't screw that up. Your blush can pull out different tones from under your eye. Don't judge it just yet. House Labs concealer. And I like to go, so concealer is really where I go a little bit heavier, just because I like the center of my face to have coverage and I like my under eyes to be bright. I don't really care about what is going on over there. And then I'll just tap that in. And no, I'm not a beauty blender person. They're too simple. Beauty blenders are not multitaskers, brushes are. You can control the pressure and the coverage of your brush by where you're holding how you're holding it. You can affect like how the product is blending out, not just blending out something for blending it out. You can have products loaded into your brush to take it across the face. You can treat it like a beauty blender and just kind of like this, like just press into these areas. Like I literally do not care about how viral and easy and great sponges are. It's also not cost effective either. And I find that a lot of people who have issues with their foundation, whether it's how it looks, how it wears, they are using beauty blenders. That is like I would say like 85% of the time, that's the cause of the issue. I also think from a sanitary perspective, like I get tagged in people's videos about like things that they've seen me do, like use expired makeup. I just see so much unsanitary practice with people's own personal makeup, and it just, I don't quite understand it. But then I think about the style of a beauty blender and kind of how makeup is presented on the internet, where you're getting this like one sponge to do 100 different things that you've wet and then cross-contaminated into a bunch of different things. And now you're wondering why your skin is breaking out, your makeup's not looking as good, the actual product itself is getting mold on it. Like, I am just not a sponge person. You cannot sanitize them properly. At least you can wash a brush, you can get in there, you can spray it with alcohol. I'm very anti beauty blender. Not even beauty blender, because that's the brand. I'm just anti makeup sponge. And that's not to say you have to go buy like super expensive brushes. It's just, there's so much more variety. Like, the brushes exist for a reason. Bob Ross would not use one brush to paint his landscapes. I am nothing without Global Glow. So this is now gonna marry kind of the bronzer. Kind of like if you watch how I did the eyes, there's this shadow that I took kind of over top to continue to blur. That's what I kind of use this for. Just pulls everything together. Yes, more mature and dry skin can use this. Term or statement of mature, dry, textured skin can't have sparkle is not always true. It's the type of product you're using, and it's the placement, and it's the tool. Mineralized Skin Finish is a non-drying powder, so it's actually one of the best options for more mature or dry or textured skin. And your placement and how it's gonna go down is gonna range. And there's no like straight answer for that, because everybody's different, and I can't see you. So when you say I have dry skin, what do? I can't see you. There is so much more info that I need to understand if this is actually the product for you, or what tool you need to use, or I need to know how you're prepping your skin, what the foundation is, the steps are that you're using. Asking a makeup artist a question about a product needs a level of consultation to properly understand. Yes, I could give like a basic answer, but I'm doing you a disservice if I was to do that. So that marries everything all together. So obsessed. This is my favorite everyday blush. This is Humor Me on a 137. And I just sort of sweep it over top of where I know I put that cream blush down. This is one of MAC's like truly neutral, cool toned blushes. Almost beige, but it has like a little bit of a plummish undertone to it. Like this. So good. So you can still see like the pores that I have, but nobody's looking at you that close. That we all think we're the center of the universe, but like no one's actually looking at you that close. Even if they did, who cares? Like literally who cares? They're going to forget your existence 2 seconds after you see them. Name 10 strangers you saw yesterday and what they look like. Can't remember it. I'm using this up. The Mob Beauty Translucent Loose Powder is my favorite powder, but I'm just trying to use this up. This was the brush that had the black on it, but I think I'll be okay. So I use another 109 and I just load it in. I hate tapping brushes, but this is the only one I have to do it with. And then we don't want to disrupt what's under there, so we're just pushing. And I don't need to put it where there's already bronzer and blush, because those were powders themselves, so they already set that area. So it's just throughout the center kind of part of the face where the concealers went. And because it's getting more hot and more humid, I can put a little bit more of this than I normally would in the winter. I'm barely lifting. I'm not going like this. I'm barely lifting the brush off. And then where there's no powder, but I have the Radiant product and I have, Strobe Dewy, you still get that really nice glow. To hit my brows a little bit, because I'll go fill them in now. Go in with taupe first. Gonna add structure and stud for more detail work, and it's gonna deepen the brow a bit. But sometimes if I went in with stud just on its own, it can look a little bit too harsh. This one's a little longer. I love how I look. I love my routine. I love my routine so much. I care about my routine. I just like to buff off a little bit of excess, like whatever is left over because guess what? I'm not done. This is where we get into very Megan specific things. Love it, lock it in. I mean, this whole thing is very Miss Megan specific. The ultimate final step, StereoFix powder. This is where on a 240, do you see how much product is on here? It's loaded because we need to push it into the skin to absorb into what is underneath. This is where I get more coverage under the eye, but not through liquid, it's through powder. And then StereoFix powder is also blurring, so does help with any texture in this area. If I went in and whispered it on or tried to dust it across, that technique is gonna grab at the concealer, and that's where you're gonna get patchiness. Don't forget, like, StereoFix powder shouldn't be used wet, like you shouldn't be spraying anything into it, but Fix Plus and StereoFix powder are meant for each other. So when it does touch a wet surface, it actually enjoys it. Do a little here. This is basically like my highlight powder, so it's several shades lighter than what I have underneath. And that's why I work dark to light, because I want this to be the strongest point on the face. I do this routine every single day, and every single time I film for it, I'm just like, I'm so obsessed about it. Final seal, love it, lock it in. Fix Plus Stay Over. And this wears all day. It's really awesome because people right now are trying this routine out, and then they're doing like wear tests on it. I don't have to prove anything to anybody, but this wears for me. I work out in this. I wear it for 16 plus hours a day. I will still look the same if I fell asleep in it. I always say, use what you have. However, even this Holy Trinity and the brush, like this is the main part of this routine. This really like eliminating, well, obviously tech, because that's what I'm talking about, but eliminating any of like these types of things will change how this looks. So they're like the core. All of the other product, use what you have. Try with your own, like let's say you got these or have these, try with your own bronzer, highlighting powders, blushes, concealers, like try with all of those things first. And then if at that point it's not working for you, then you can look into the product that I have. Oh my God, I just love, this is like, I've worked on my routine for years. Like you're always constantly evolving when you're involved in makeup in the way that I am. And I feel like I did it. Like there is nothing that I want to alter or change about my routine. I'm so very obsessed with it. I'm so very obsessed with it. So where I get a little bit extra shiny with the Fix Plus, sometimes I'll just take the brush and just re-dab. Like it's really simple, but that will wear really nicely throughout the day. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you learned a lot about why I love this foundation and different techniques to apply to your own routine. Let me know what any of your takeaways are and what your favorite foundation is. Do subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss a post. I don't really do tutorials like this. If you love them, let me know. Make sure you follow me on TikTok and Instagram, all under the same name, @Miss Megan Robinson. And until then, I'll see you next time. Bye.